Oh, hello. Didn't see you there. We live, Nicholas. This on?
It looks like it, yeah. But my internet just continues to be a pain in my rear end.
Your it stinks. But I feel your pain because at least we can still see you.
Yeah.
At least the people can still see you, Nicholas. So, in the fairness of not knowing what your internet may or may do, I'm just going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, TLDR Studios proudly presents to you the greatest, and I sincerely mean the greatest podcasting team of all time. He is the essential comic book writer, Nick Friar. I am your friendly neighborhood backcracker, Dr. Joe, and together we are the TLDR Comic Book Club, baby. Nicholas, are you there?
I barely, dude. I cut out like twice on you. That's why I'm off screen right now. This is
A little,
this is not great, everybody.
a little Wanda Sykes slash Wanda icon there you got there.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is the default that I was given. So that's just what it is. That's what people are getting. Yeah. So that's where we're rolling, everybody. If this persists, then Joe and I may have to go off camera and just record this solo and see if we can get through it that way.
The turntables have turned. How does that saying go, Nicholas?
I don't know, but I don't think this is a thing for you to celebrate. I'm genuine. This is just, I'm having a terrible week. This is awful. I'm very upset.
I'm sorry.
I'm telling all our listeners that because, God, I need this show right now. Okay.
So, you got it, baby.
So, all right. We had Boston Fan Expo this past weekend, and Joe and I had a great time, booked up a few guests for you guys. We're very excited. By the way, Joe, if I cut out in the middle of all this, tell me because we're going to just do it. We're not going to do it live if we have to. But we booked a bunch of guests, had some great conversations. We did get a little bit of news too during the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo panel. We got a little insight from Scott and Greg that We Have Demons, their Comixology original turned Dark Horse title. Don't know what the future of that is in comic form, but it looks like that just got picked up. We don't know if it's in show format, if it's going to be in movie format, but those guys did announce that to us during their panel when we were among the people asking them questions throughout the course of their panel. But had a great time, Joe. Had a great time with you, and we had, other than walking away with a little bit of an illness. I don't know if it's from that or from other things I did last week, but had a great time at Fan Expo Boston. One of my favorite ones that I've ever attended.
Oh no, you're not feeling well. You didn't tell me that. I'm sorry, buddy.
I appreciate it.
It's I think a little more tequila was probably needed on your end. Probably kill what was in you. I tried. We went through a great deal of rye whiskey this weekend.
I don't know the last time I had tequila. It honestly might have been in college, and I might have been like a couple times. And I was like, yeah.
I mean, I will have like a margarita, so because I don't dance with tequila, we're not great friends, and so our good pal and my other podcasting partner, Biceps Billy Delaney, asks, he's like, hey, let's go out, let's meet at this place. I'm gonna butcher the name of it, like, Bucaritos Canteen or something like that. It's down the Seaport. So you and I walk in there, and there's like two booths, a table, and some counter space, a tiny little place. I'm like, okay, Billy must love the burritos, right? Well, he walks in, he's like, what the fuck are you two fools doing? We're like, what are you talking about? And he hits something on the wall, a door opens up, and it's like we walk into like Tequila Narnia. And so like we had a drink. I like to pick, I'm very adventurous, when it comes to mixed drinks. And so it was very tequila heavy, and and so I got one, and it was very interesting with pear, but it had this blueberry salt around the rim. I gotta tell you, it was really aggressive. It was really, really aggressive. The good thing though is like once you kind of take that first sip or two, then the salt just from that one spot disappears. So you can just kind of drink from that same spot. So that helped. But we went out, we had some more beers after that. You got a concrete,
the best concrete, some of the best ice cream I've ever had in my life. Real quick though, did Billy tell you it was a speakeasy? That first place we went to?
No, okay, I know.
Either he's got to be better or he was messing with us Because like, how are we supposed to know that?
Well, thank you AI for this, but once you search something, then it magically finds its way into your algorithm, and all of a sudden, my the TikTok feed was like full of posts from that place. So I feel like it's if you're a Seaport young hip insider, I am none of those things. I am
Neither of us are.
old, I am chubby, and I am poor. So the Seaport is not a place I frequent too often, but I will say it was a great night. It was a great night. Got a
Yeah.
lot of steps in. Got a lot of steps in. So worked off some of those Cisco beers. But this is not what the show is, Nicholas. That's my
Oh,
third podcast is a drinking podcast. But Boston Fan Expo was a hell of a time. Brought Violet with us on Friday. She had a great time. She's a big fan of K-pop Demon Hunters, so that was very heavily present throughout the course of the weekend. She got herself a nice T-shirt, and I'm looking forward to bringing her back year after year. And I love the press treatment. I got to say, Nicholas, I kind of felt like somebody.
it was funny. That was not like any like in a good way. We've never had it like that. Even in other times I've gone like with Fan Expo, or I think I've gotten credentials for around Comic Con as well. I don't think I've ever had the treatment quite like that. Even in my pro sports coverage, where it's like there are there's you get treated different ways depending on the stadium that you're at. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever had it quite like we did there. Just in terms of like every time someone realized that we were press. Like every
Go,
time
go,
that
go, go,
happened,
go, 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 go.
it was like,
It's
oh,
like, yeah,
sorry,
thank you.
yeah.
I ain't hanging out with these plebs. Come on. Come on. Yeah, damn right you're gonna shoo me through.
Uh,
Anyways, Nicholas, we have a mainline issue this week. But before we dive into all of that, um, folks, I'm gonna be the one that reminds you this week, right? I'm gonna tell you, right, to check out TLDR wherever you listen, watch your podcasts. We're on YouTube, right? It's a tremendous help if you go there and you subscribe and you hit the alert button so when we are going live so you don't miss right kick ass booze content, comic content, or any other sort of content we're throwing in your general direction because it is pure gold, baby. But you can also listen to us, right? You can listen to us on Spotify, on Apple, on Spreaker, on Audible. I mean, basically anywhere you listen to your podcast. So follow us. It helps us. It helps us grow, reach more people, and helps our heads get really, really, really big so we can just keep bragging and bragging and bragging. Yes, Nicholas, go ahead.
real quick. No, I'm laughing at you, the big head bit. Um, the other thing too is you want to make sure you guys can watch us. That's all good and well. We obviously want you to do that, but at the same time, you do need to make sure if you're watching us, you're also subscribed to the audio channels, specifically not just because Doc's saying so, but because you need to make sure you're catching our Friar Side chats, which are our conversations with creators across the comic book industry. We had a couple of those recently, and whenever you're seeing on our YouTube page, or if you're following us on Instagram Live, that we're not doing a mainline episode, that's because we're either doing a solicit, which happens once a month, or more likely we are doing a Friar Side chat. And like I mentioned earlier, we have a few more. Honestly, I'm hoping that we have 7 new guests that come out of Fan Expo Boston, based on the conversations that we had, the way things went, and some of them may be coming at you guys real soon because they got a lot of cool stuff that's going to be coming out in the next month or two. But anyways, yes, we got a mainline episode to get to, and we got a fun little combination. And it's I can't remember last time we did an all Marvel mainline episode. Can you, Joe?
No, and I did something very particular for this issue. I titled it. We just use a TLDR mainline issue, right? We're at 114. Well, I titled this one Versus, and that will come into focus, when we get there. But we picked a very specific theme for this week. 2 books that we've been dying to talk about, and at least on my end too, right? Very pertinent for a book that drops this week from Marvel, which we will get to
Yes.
in a bit. I will say I won't list them all, but I did a fair amount of catching up this weekend. It's surprising, Nicholas, how much you can read when your wife and daughter are out of town for a few days. And I'm about a month and a half ahead of my pace for where I should be for reading 1,000 books by the end of the year. So I'm humming, baby. I am humming.
A month and a half. Month and a
Yeah.
half. That's nice. That's nice.
I'm
So
I'm roughly right now where I should be. Like if I just only read 83, we'll call it 84 books a month. I'm already at where I should be by the end of September, going into
okay.
October. So
So what's your number then?
I'm at I'm like 740,
740.
740, something
Okay,
like that. Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's awesome.
Yep.
That
Yep.
it's yeah, that's great. You are cooking and you definitely made up for lost time. And that's all while, we spent hours at the convention center Friday, Saturday, and even we went back on Sunday for I think pretty much the morning, right?
Yeah, we went back because we tried to, something was offered to us. We tried to take advantage, couldn't quite make it happen. But we got to see the Snyder Capullo panel there, which was great. I'll tell you what, folks, if you're planning on going to Fan Expo again next year, um, Sunday's a great day to go. Saturday's obviously the best day. Friday's a good day, but Sunday vendors are trying to get rid of shit, right? So like I
Yeah.
bought I bought a hardcover copy of The Walking Dead volume 1 for $6. Right?
Yep.
Like they people are just trying to get shit. They don't want to bring it all home with them. So it's if you want to like buy stuff, especially like books or anything else, it's a good day because inventory needs to get going.
It was
Um,
insane. That one stand in particular had some of the best deals, the best deals that we've seen at any Comic Con that we've been to so far. But we got to get to what's out this week, what's hitting shelves this week, Joe. From DC, we're gonna kick things off there. Normally it's Marvel, but we're doing some Marvel books today, so
yeah.
doesn't matter. We're doing DC right now. What do you got for me?
All right, we have Action Comics 10. I wrote down 1089. Is that 1099? I think we're approaching
10,
Action.
1099. Yeah.
Yeah, 1099. We have Supergirl issue 4, Green Lantern Corps issue 7, Aquaman issue 8, Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman issue 3, Batman Gotham by Gaslight, A League for Justice issue 2. We have Superman The Kryptonite Spectrum issue 1. Real quick, Nicholas, did you read that yet?
No, I had no intention of necessarily reading that one. Did you?
It was
Why?
excellent.
Well, okay. I don't.
Because it was written by the Ice Cream Man team.
Oh, it was that one. I still haven't read Ice
Yeah.
Cream Man.
Oh, do yourself a treat, pun intended. But this was great because it explores like newly discovered colors of kryptonite, and the feeling I get is that each issue is Superman's going to be uh with the help of someone sort of test each new color on himself to see what the effects are. So a little twisted, very much in that artistic style of Ice Cream Man. So if you get a chance, you should read that one, Nick. It was excellent. This was quite the week for comics. It was hard for Nick and I to really sort of narrow down which books we wanted to quickly highlight. And Superman easily could have been one of them, but there's two here that I have underlined I want to discuss real quick. And the first one is going to be Batman and Robin issue 24. We had the great pleasure of meeting Philip Kennedy Johnson, and I very much made it a point to tell him how much I've enjoyed all his work, but specifically Batman and Robin, and not an easy task taking over for Jason Williamson,
Joshua.
Joshua Williamson. Jesus, Joseph, Josh Williamson. I think I just had a stroke.
Hmm.
So Kennedy, I've talked about Philip Kennedy Johnson's run a number of times. And this issue in particular wraps up sort of the Memento storyline that he's been working on since he took over. And the last several issues in particular have been very dark. There's been this wonderful, very sort of, tugging at, your heartstrings, father son, dynamic between, Damian and Bruce, and this sort of like journey that Damian's been on about sort of discovering who he is outside of, his father's shadow. And with talking with Philip, not particularly about this, but just about some other things, like I got a better understanding about where he's coming from as a writer, because of his role as a father. And I bought one of his books, a Superman book, and he talked about like this is sort of like a love letter, you know, to my kid. And you read it, you read, they would read it, each night. So like that's very important for me. It's something that's very important for him. So it gave me a great perspective when sort of re-looking at this latest arc. But this issue in particular, I mean, it is dark, it is gritty, it is violent, it is extraordinarily meaningful. And I thought Williams did a great job understanding Damian Wayne. Philip Kennedy Johnson takes it to another level, right? And really just gives him some added layers that really just, I think, highlights and elevates this once character that I couldn't fucking stand.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that Batman and Robin, like that's one you should 100% check out. New arcs coming. But if you can go back and hop on where Philip Kennedy Johnson took over, I highly recommend that. And then the next book I want to discuss, right, also from DC, is someone else we got to meet at Boston Fan Expo, and that was
Yeah.
artist Hayden Sherman. And they were so nice, right? And
The nicest.
I mean, everyone that we talked to really, was just like really kind, really gave us time, and I've been wanting to meet Hayden for a while. I've talked about their art, on the show, go way back to the beginning when I first talked about Thumbs and all the work they've done with Sean Lewis. Sean Lewis has been on the show talking about their work and just saying like, they're gonna break out. And Batman Dark Patterns has been one of my absolute favorite Batman books. I mean, you all know we love Absolute Batman, but what Dark Patterns does really well, and I think this will be the next mainline book that I discuss, is that each arc is 3 issues long. You get this great little crime story, right? Focusing on a different rogue. And this last one, has been dealing with, Dan Waters and Hayden Sherman's take on the Red Hood, on Red Hood and the Red Hood gang. And this again, Hayden's art style is very gritty, and the story, this particular story arc was very gritty. It was very violent, but this one too had a moment in it. There was a series of 3 panels or so that absolutely shook me to my core. I was like, holy shit. And the way that it shook Batman to his core was absolutely outstanding. And Hayden's art, throughout all of this was just absolutely like so perfect for this story. So I wanted to discuss those 2 books from DC in particular, because I was able to gain a little more insight by meeting both those creators and just learning more about their process and everything about that. But in general, these are 2 very excellent books, Nicholas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a great. These 2 were some of the nicest people. We met a lot of really good people. And that's just always so. That's just the name of the game. But these 2, Hayden and Philip Kennedy Johnson, just awesome people. Although the funniest person, this is a tough one. Bean or Drew Moss. It might be Drew Moss. He was a pretty funny dude.
Yeah, Drew was great, and Drew and both Joseph Schmalke, like they recognized us pretty quickly, and unintentionally,
Yeah.
I had done a Thundercats Gem of the Week on Friday, and I forgot that Drew Moss was going to be there, and as we're getting there, I was like, oh shit, I saw him. I go, oh, I forgot he was gonna be here. So we went up, and he had shared collaborated on the reel and shared it and all that. So we talked to him all 3 days. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he was such a good dude. All right, moving over to Image and their imprint Skybound. We got a ton to discuss. Transformers issue 23 is out this week. Spawn 365, King Spawn issue 48, I Hate Fairyland issue 43, Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger Spawn issue 8, Blood and Thunder issue 3, The Unchosen issue 2, which is the best looking book that you're going to pick up on shelves this week in an awesome week. I think you're muted, Joe.
Oh Jesus, I am.
Wow. Okay. No, seriously, I doubted myself because I'm like, my internet's been terrible. Joe's been talking the whole time, everybody, because I'm trying to fix my stuff. And right there, I'm like, I have no idea if he's muted or if it's my computer.
I
I,
muted it
I
because I was trying to type to you real quick.
ugh.
But Unchosen, right, was another book that we could have discussed, and another book that I really hemmed and hawed about.
Okay, so let me ask you something. I might.
Yeah,
How bad is my audio? We need to address this because the chats. It's not going to be easy. How bad is my audio in terms of me cutting
uh,
out?
I had you cut out twice at 8:18 and 8:32.
In oh, but not right now. Not as we're going through this right now.
No, no, you're fine.
If I cut out 2 more times, we're going to do this just regular in off air. Like, because this is ridiculous.
Sounds good.
Xfinity.
You might as well throw your video on.
No, it's
Right.
I'm cutting out worse. I tried it 3
Okay.
times while you were talking, and it froze on me. That's why I'm like, I
Oh,
can't do it. This is always better from an audio standpoint. And we're sorry, everybody. This is way behind the curtain, but I'll tell you what, Xfinity, I'm about ready to go drive to see them tomorrow, one of their locations, because this is inexcusable. All right, Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger. Oh, we got to the Unchosen. That's right. Free Planet, issue 4. Golden Rage, Mother Knows Best, issue 5. And then a pair of books that I wanted to discuss. One is one that we're both reading, and it's a book that is coming to an end this week, at least as far as we know. In a golden age of horror comics, I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer is a standout series. And to me, it's one of the best. It's going to go down as one of the best limited series of this year. But as you and I were kind of talking about at Fan Expo, and I think even afterwards, because I think we both read it before we went to the con, this shouldn't be a limited series. We need more of Rennie's story. This is the 5 issues. They were great. It's outstanding. But I want to spend more time with this character.
yeah, the way they ended it too, right? Left it open ended, right? Because it was great because it could be a standalone. If they never get back to it, you get a great tight 5 issue story. But if all things go well and they come back to it, now we can very clearly see where they can go, how they can handle it, and give Rennie a whole new set of people to kill.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Let's do it. All right, move it. And the other book that I wanted to discuss was the Power Fantasy issue 11, of course, Kieran Gillen, Caspar Wingard. This is the final issue of the second arc. So the first arc was 5 issues. This one wound up being 6. And month after month, you guys hear me. Like, I have to stop myself half the time from talking about this book on the show. But I needed to do it again this month because we have so many jaw-dropping issues from this, for ends of issues from this series. Issue 10 was no exception to that, and there have been many others. But issue 11 takes the cake without question. Once you guys read this, you are going to understand why I needed to mention that and need to touch upon it, because there are these crazy developments that have been set in motion, and then now it's just like, wait a second, it's just everything. It was kind of, as I stammer through this, what's amazing about this series is that it very much moves at an even pace, not breakneck in any capacity. Yet at the same time, Kieran and Caspar also don't take their sweet time in delivering their massive punches. So it's like, we're not moving crazy fast. We're not rabbit punching, but we'll pretty much bring a haymaker, 2, maybe 3 with every single issue. And I would say, other than the first issue where we get like this crazy stuff from Etienne at the end of the issue, and it really is an amazing tone setter, I think this was the best or the second best ending that we've gotten through these first 11 issues, with that issue number 1 being the other contender.
Nice. Yeah, I got to catch up for sure. But I think I've talked about this is one of those books I've got to read. Multiple issues. I gotta read trades of this one. Unfortunately, that's just how my brain's wired and how I can best digest
Mm-hmm.
this epic story.
Yeah, and it really is, and there's a lot of like, it's very like, dense isn't really fair, but there's a lot to it.
Yeah,
And
it's a thinking man's comic, right?
yes,
And it's beautifully drawn. It's a tremendous story, but there's a lot. So like for me in my age-addled brain, reading this month to month, there's a lot of things you can take out of each issue, and so that means there's a lot of things I can forget about each issue. So for me,
sure.
being able to read it, all at once, I'm able to really, I think, get the most out of it. And that's just a me thing, right? So,
Mhm.
and that's not me knocking the book in any way, shape, or form. I'm just the older I get, the slower my fucking brain works.
Right, right. No, I understand that. There really is a lot to take in with this series, and that's definitely deliberate on Kieran's part. But it's also, as you trade weight it out, you'll enjoy it when that time comes. So moving over to Boom, we only got one book from them this week, but I want to touch upon it still. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT Volume 3, Issue 1. And look, we've talked about this a lot. Ryan Parrott is writing this series, and this is a great Ryan Parrott week, by the way, because he's
Mm.
got this out and he's got Rogue Sun issue 29 out. And like for all the twists and turns I talk about with Power Fantasy, like Rogue Sun in the last 2 issues especially, we've gotten crazy twists to the point, Joe, where I'm curious how you feel about this statement. Like, this is a thought I had as I was kind of just jotting down notes and going through the different books I wanted to discuss. I feel like we're all supposed to, like, Dylan's like he's the hero, yes, but he's also a school bully. He's kind of he's a jerk in some ways and whatever. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, Dylan in ways is like supposed to be kind of the worst guy in this series, but he's the one like the only one you can really trust throughout the entire series. Everybody's been pretty questionable at some point or another.
Well, everyone has an agenda, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, right, has, it's either an agenda or an aspiration, or there's they want something, right? Dylan never asked for this, right? And Dylan is a byproduct of a broken home. He's fucked up parents, fucked up family, and he's a very sympathetic character because on one hand, yes, he's an asshole, but like, eh, you can tell there is something there where he is trying. He's the only one, I think, truly, that is trying to better themselves,
Hmm.
right? And not better themselves in a way of like, oh, I'm aspiring to, I should have been the one with the sunstone, therefore, like, I'm entitled to it, so I'm going to do whatever it takes so I can get it, right? And then you've got the dynamic with with Marcus and Caleb, and so yeah, like, you know, he's a prick, but like, he has moments where you can see, that there's good in him, right? Not to like, like, make a direct comparison, right? But like, Luke was the only one that still saw good in his father, right?
Right.
All the shit that Vader had done, there was still something good inside of him, right? So I'm not saying that like Dylan is like evil and twisted and maniacal like Vader had become, but like, the comparison I'm trying to make is that, like, yes, he outwardly he's a prick, but I think there is that thing where he's working, he's trying to, because he ends up doing the right things when it matters most. Um, but I'm starting to think that the being a prick thing is just more of a protective facade than anything else.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. But it's an interesting comparison that you make in the course of that. But yeah, like so, like Rogue Sun, like there's so much to talk about there. 29 issues in, it's been one of our favorite series. Didn't come up in our all-time non-Marvel DC books. That doesn't mean it won't at some point. But I think when you talk about like we didn't do specific genres, but when you talk about non-Marvel DC superhero books, Rogue Sun is in that conversation for the best that aren't at Marvel or DC. And definitely in Image as well. Like we absolutely love this series. But Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT Volume 3 Issue 1, as I was supposed to talk about that, and then just totally shiny object, got distracted by the Sunstone. We've said before, like this is one of the best IP crossovers that we have in comics right now. Like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, can't think of what other ones they've done, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has obviously done a ton. They just did stuff with He-Man. We've seen them do stuff with Batman quite a few times over the years. They have an animated movie with Batman as well. But this, I think, is the best one because Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is really good. Is like a really, while it's very 90s, it's also very much 80s. And then, TMNT is that. And then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is very much exclusively 90s. So it's kind of like bringing those two generations together. There already is a level of crossover in some ways. And Ryan like knows both properties clearly very well and has a great feel for all of the key characters. He did a great job in those first 2 volumes. Then we get this first issue, and I know you were having you were the one having technical difficulties with this. God, I would love to trade spots with you. To not to not, but at the same time, I don't know if I would have, because I really enjoyed this issue, and the ending of this issue, dude, is insane. You will text me, I guarantee it, when you get to the end, because it is very much like, did that really just fucking happen? Holy shit! So yeah, Ryan, big week for friend of the show, Ryan Parrott, between his Image and Boom books. But enough about him. We got other stuff to get to.
All right, let me take me through these. I'll take us through these next 2 publishers. From Dark Horse, we have Stranger Things: Tales from Hawkins 2, issue 2, and Quick Stops Volume 3, issue 1. From Mad Cave Studios, we have Pastime issue 5, which you are discussing, and then Nicholas, we have 2 books that I feel very strongly about, very very passionate about. 2 books that are in the same genre. So after reading both of these books, I started to I made a document for my floppies, and I wrote down all our awards, even the new one, right? Best New Horror Series. And I'm going through, and I'm just like, some I already kind of know who I think the winner's going to be, but I'm just so for the category for Best New Horror Series, I've got like 8 books on there, right? And I read one book and I go, this is the winner. And then I read the other one and I go, not only is this the winner for this, potentially the winner for this category, but it's also potentially a winner for a few other categories. So that's the book that I'll start with first, and that is The Slasher's Apprentice.
Oh,
so I read the first issue, talked about it on here, absolutely loved it. And I said, Nicholas, this is a book, man. This book fucking rips. And then I didn't realize I had fallen so far behind. And one of those weeks was when I was away, and and so like, oh shit. So I read issues 2, 3, and 4 all in a row. And I think it's safe to say, Nicholas, that like we've read a lot of really great horror books, right? I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer is one of them. Kill Train. There's been a ton, right? I read The Slasher's Apprentice and I go, not only is this a great take on the serial killer genre, it is also kind of fun at the same time, but it is so epically vicious.
mm.
And it is so twisted and dark. And essentially, what's going on is you have a character who is obsessed with serial killers, and she wants to be an apprentice, a serial killer apprentice. And so there's this sort of famous, now kind of borderline has been serial killer. He had his heyday, and she's trying to help him make his glorious and triumphant return. And only, the only way you can in this day and age, and that's through like social media and shit like that. And throughout the course, you get another twist that happens, and you go, oh shit, the serial killer, right? That we've grown to absolutely love because of their viciousness, is now a potential. He's in the crosshairs. He's in someone else's crosshairs. So like as this story unfolds, it just gets really wild, really violent, really twisted. It is so good, Nicholas. This could not only win for me Best New Horror Series, but also Best New Limited Series. Right? It's that damn good.
You'd give it to both? You'd give it both?
I would strongly consider it. I really would.
Wow. Okay.
I really would. But I could also say that potentially with the other book that dropped this week, and that's Buried Long, Long Ago, issue 4.
Yeah, this is great.
And that's that's written by Anthony Cleveland with art by Alex Cormack, and this is another issue, a book where we actually didn't get the review copy one week, so I went and I bought it digitally, and I got all caught. And like that issue that we missed was such a pivotal issue. Like holy shit, kind of pivotal issue. And then issue 4 is the fallout from that. And this takes a wild, wild twist and turn that like just really elevates it, right? So like either of these two books, right, The Slasher's Apprentice or Buried Long Ago, have a real strong chance for winning best horror series because and it's for different reasons for both. Like Buried Long Ago, I mean they're both excellently written, but Cormac's art really takes this book up a notch because as we all talked about Alex's art, it is aggressively horror as you as you can get, right? And it's the
Yeah.
way he draws the faces, the eyes, the nose, like the smiles, right? The teeth, really, brings out some really horrific imagery, which I know Alex will take as an absolute compliment.
Yeah, purely
Um,
from an imagery standpoint, I think this is the scariest issue of the series so far.
yeah, yeah, and that's saying something because
It
this book
really is.
rips pretty is pretty scary right from the rip. So, Nicholas, I was so impressed with both of these issues. I am so impressed with both of these titles. As soon as The Slasher's Apprentice is done, again, like I'm fast tracking a couple of books here so that you can read them because I really think you need to read Dark Patterns. I really, really, really think you need to read The Slasher's Apprentice.
What was the first? How long was the first arc of Dark Patterns? Was it 6 issues or is it?
It's 3 issues. It's
It's
3 issues, one story, 3 issues, another story, and then the last 3 issues just ended. So it was the first one. I can't remember the serial killer was the specific name.
okay, but that's
This,
but yeah, so you can move that up the list definitely for sure.
yeah. So
Awesome.
excellent.
All right, let's see if I can buzz through all this, and the internet will hopefully continue to cooperate. I think we're you know what? I'm going to jinx it. Oni Press, we got Blood Type issue 3, Rick and Morty versus the Universe issue 2, Cemetery Kids Run Rabid issue 1. From IDW, we got TMNT Mutant Nations issue 9, Star Trek Lower Decks issue 10, Godzilla Here There Be Aliens issue 3, Monster High Party Monster issue 1, which we did see I think some Monster High cosplay at Fan Expo
Yes.
Boston. Only because the only reason that Joe and I don't read Monster High, I don't really know what Monster High is, and I don't think Cass would be offended by me saying that. But we know the editor of that book, so she wanted to interact with some of those cosplayers. Vault, we got Lilith issue 5 supposedly, but again, League of Comic Geeks is weird with Vault. From Titan, we got Conan the Barbarian issue 23. From Dynamite, we got Captain Planet and the Planeteers issue 3.
Excellent.
Yeah, this was the best issue so far, and I think it's supposed to feel that way, where it's like we're setting the table in the first one, getting the characters to kind of know each other a little bit more in the second one, and then the third one, everything kind of breaks and gets ratcheted up a bit.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just agreeing with you.
This is why we need the camera, everybody. It's just I'm so upset about it, Joe. Thundercats Lost issue 5, Zootopia issue 5, Thundercats The Powerpuff Girls issue 2, which I did see in the Gilmore household, at least the first issue. Space Ghost issue 1, and then Marvel to round things out, The Ultimates issue 15, X-Men 20, Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion issue 3, Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 36, Fantastic Four. What?
This is why I've got to read Marvel. You got to say Spider-Man. Come on, Nicholas. We got a brand to uphold here.
Oh, Spider-Man. Okay. Yes. Let me try that again. Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion issue 3. Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 36. Fantastic Four issue 2. Daredevil issue 24. Magique issue 8. Spider-Man and Wolverine issue 4. Laura Kinney Wolverine issue 9. Eddie Brock Carnage issue 7. Giant Size X-Men issue 2. See, I listen. Jedi Knights issue 2. New Champions issue 8. Bring on the Bad Guys Red Skull. Uncle Scrooge Earth's Mightiest Duck issue 1.
Written by Jason Aaron, which I meant to read. I just didn't get a chance to today.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. And then the last one is a number 1 that I was not allowed to read because my friend had my back because I wouldn't fully understand what's going on with this because the book he's talking about today kind of leads into it, and that is Predator Kills the Marvel Universe issue 1. Did you read it though?
Oh, Nicholas, holy shit. Holy shit. If we thought Cullen Bunn had fun with Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, that ain't nothing to what our good pal Benjamin Percy does to the Marvel Universe.
Oh, wow.
Nicholas, I will tell you this. As soon as we end this podcast, and as soon as you're able to, right, like, and I get your frustration because I had to deal with this right during the
Yeah.
interview of all things.
Ugh.
Once you're like able to like, breathe it out, right? You got to read Predator Kills the Marvel Universe issue 1 because after I talk about this book, if you want to go back, read it real quick, and then read that. Um, I would highly recommend doing so. But after I talk about this book, you can read that and then go back and read Spider-Man, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay, that's good to know, and that's good for the listeners. You and I have access to all these things, so I'm gonna make sure. I want to read this anyways, because when you first told me about the book you're discussing today, when the first issue came out, I was like, "This is an amazing concept," and I'm kind of pissed that you have it. But you are the Spider-Man guy on this show, so it's only natural that you would take this version of this Benjamin Percy phenomenon that we have going on over at Marvel. What is it, Joe?
It is. Oh, I forgot to write down, but it's Predator versus Spider-Man. And just real quick about Predator Kills the Marvel Universe issue 1. I haven't read the Wolverine one yet, so I can't speak to that one so much. But I will say that I have read both the Black Panther and Spider-Man, and they tie elements, especially the Black Panther one, into that book. So Percy's like he's really been spinning a great yarn here with this Predator series, and it's all coming together. So like, if you listen to this episode, watch this episode, and you love the 2 books that Nick and I discuss, I would highly recommend Predator versus Black Panther as well, and then make sure you read Predator Kills the Marvel Universe because it is tremendous. Now, you don't need to have read the other books to read Predator Kills the Marvel Universe, but I would highly suggest that you do just because I think it enriches everything. But Spider-Man, Predator versus Spider-Man, written by Benjamin Percy, art by Marcella Ferreira, who does the pencils, Jay Leistein, who does the inks, colors by Frank Darmada, and letters by Clayton Cowles. Synopsis. A heat wave sends New York City into a blackout and Spider-Man on patrol as tempers boil across the city. But beneath its grimy sewers and subway lurks a threat unlike anything Peter Parker has faced before. Introducing Skinner, a predator of no honor, no clan, only a thirst for blood.
Ooh.
Does that not do this story justice?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Holy cow. This is another book that I've considered and I've talked about considering for best new horror series.
Oh, right,
Only in
right.
that this is very much in the vein to me of a serial killer type of story. It is gritty, it is dark, it is like there's panels from I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer where there's flayed bodies hanging from the ceiling. Um that almost seems like, you know, you know, fairy tale stuff compared to the imagery you get in this book.
Get
Right.
out.
Yeah.
That's
We
crazy. Benjamin Percy has I don't know what he's done, but he has somehow found a way to
yeah.
like tell these like terrifying stories over at Marvel. And we look again, you brought up Cullen, like Cullen's done all that with Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, but he's done a lot like that for a bit,
Yeah.
Joe.
There's been mature audience warnings on most of his comics.
I'm sorry, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, and now all of this stuff. Oh my
Right.
god, that's
Helverine
awesome.
as well. Right.
Yeah, Wolverine.
So
Yeah,
just absolutely crushes it. And the best thing about these Predator stories, they're 4 issues, right? Wolverine was 4 issues.
correct.
Black Panther was 4 issues. This is, Spider-Man's 4 issues. So it's great because it's nice and tight, right? And the pacing is absolutely excellent. And at the same time, you might 4 issues, that's not a lot. You really do feel like you've been given a full story here, right? Because it's just the way that Ben writes and the story that he tells. You just it's so engrossing. So this is as good as a horror story that I've read yet. So far this year. It's really stands up, with the best of them. And one of the things that I love, about this is right away from the art, right, is that you get this feel of like 1970s grimy ass New York City. Like, you know, we talked, what was that book? Was it last week or the week before, Down the Bayou, where you could like feel the swampiness, you could feel the humidity, right? You can feel that grime, you can feel that heat, right? In this book, right? To me, it's got a very sort of Son of Sam kind of vibe to it, right?
Hmm.
Where you have this serial killer roaming the city of New York, terrifying everyone. No one has any clue who it might be. And that is like the tone that is set, you know, right from the beginning. So I love the fact that, like, you don't see the predator now. Yes, I know predator can be invisible, but like you know, the fact that like they're just talking about the Skinner, right? Like a serial killer already has a nickname. They are being unseen. Like, uh, I just thought like that was just so well executed in such a great way to kind of start this, because you know what you're getting from the title, obviously, right? But this just adds some depth, you know, to the story, gives you that cat and mouse, right? All the things, like if you're a serial killer junkie, right? That's, I think, a big part of what we like, you know, in those kind of stories, whether they're fictionalized serial killer stories or it's true crime stuff. It's like it's that hunt, it's that chase, right? It's that like we don't know who it is, they don't know who it is, and then when you discover it, it's like poof, right? Um, and so just I just love the fact that, you know, no one refers to him as a predator, right? Because he's this unknown sort of alien. So just the Skinner is, I thought, just a very perfect way to do it. And like as I said before, like he's called the Skinner for a reason. There's flayed bodies
Hmm.
up and down all around New
Right.
York City, right? And you don't want to be, you know, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, right? Like as the synopsis said, this is a predator with no honor and no clan, right? He's just out there skinning the shit out of people and wearing their faces as he does a little kooky dance.
Hmm.
Um, so like it's horrific. And throughout the entire 4 issue run, there's this constant sense of, you know, unease and terror that just kind of always keeps the hair on the back of your neck standing, you know, just a bit. And then this is a spoiler because this happens in the first issue, right? And this is part of the reason why I didn't want you to go ahead and read um Predator Kills the Marvel Universe before this, because right, I didn't want you to, right. It's not that it's spoiling it, but I wanted you to hear it from me first before you went and read it and then heard
You
me
wanted
talk
to read it
about it.
before I did. That's what it comes down to. I get it.
No,
It's
no,
a good
no, no, no,
mechanic.
no, 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 no. Is that the role that Craven plays in this story is so fucking good.
Ooh.
It is so fucking good because
Ooh.
his role just adds just that other next level layer of violence and intrigue. And he sort of comes into this story, right? Not necessarily as a villain, right? But as a hunter, right? Because he's not after Spider-Man, right? In this, and you know, they're at odds, but only because like Craven has made it a game. He wants to catch the Skinner before Spider-Man does,
Hmm.
right? And so now you've got like two different sort of that you have a hunter going after prey, and then you have Spider-Man in a detective role, right? Trying to figure this out, right? Because it's, you know, it's his city. He's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, right? And the role that Peter Parker plays with John Jonah Jameson is not an adversarial role in this story. It is one of like you know, Boston Globe's spotlight investigative team, right? So like
Oh,
there's this, like I said, like it's
that's awesome.
Percy
Wow.
uses that element of it to again further enhance that serial killer type of story. What was there was the movie about the son of Sam, Zodiac, right?
Hmm.
Kind of had that vibe to it, right? And so like it just like that sort of story is always going to pull me in. And then there's a couple of other characters which I'll get into a moment, but it's just this constant sort of cat and mouse game with just next level violence that you don't typically get in a Spider-Man book. You're
Hmm.
definitely going to get in a Predator book, and that's how Percy is able to, you know, match these two iconic characters, you know, together so well. I mean, he did an excellent job with Black Panther. That was a little bit more of just you know, like you kind of knew what you were getting there, right? There was a very distinct purpose as to why, the Predators, were going after, Wakanda. This is a lot more nebulous, right? Because there is no
Mhm.
rhyme or reason to it. You've just got a psychopath predator just killing for sport. And then you add, Craven and into the mix, and it gets really wild. So this is just not a great horror story. It's a great whodunit. It's a great Spider-Man book. It's a great Predator book. So like it is so, effing good. Um, One of the other characters, right? Mary Jane, she doesn't play a pivotal role in this, but she's there to add extra consequence to the story, add extra suspense, add extra, intrigue. And then you've got Detective LaPearl, who is like, again, you've got this hard-boiled detective who needs to find out who's killing people in my city. Who is it? And at one point, she thinks it's Spider-Man, right?
Hmm.
And so that element of things, right, where you've got, Spider-Man sort of in the middle trying to figure everything out, and then you've got all these different players. They all sort of want the same thing, but they're all going at it much different ways, right? And so again, just that level of intrigue is top notch. So as we all know, Percy is a master at telling horror stories, and Spider-Man and Peter is still quippy, right? It's still Spider-Man, right? It's still a really great Spider-Man story, and you don't lose the essence of who that character is, even though he's in a slightly different role than we're used to seeing him in, and he's in a more sort of horrific setting than we typically see him in. It never felt out of place, and that's really the masterwork that Percy did here. When it comes to the art, right? Like, you know, um, Ferreira and Leiston and Diarmada do a really good job at bringing this world to life, making it feel dark, making it feel hot, making it feel grimy. Like I said, giving you that 1970s New York City Son of Sam vibe to it. And there's going to be panels in here that you're going to go, holy shit! I didn't expect that in a Spider-Man story. So that's Predator versus Spider-Man, and I can't recommend enough. This has been one of my favorite books this year to read across all of the different publishers. I like I said, I can't recommend this just series in general enough. I haven't read Wolverine. That's the one I haven't read, which you're going to discuss in just a moment. But once we're done with this, Nicholas, you not only got to read Spider-Man, you could. I'm not saying that Predator versus Black Panther is not important because like it is, but like if you read Spider-Man and then read Kills the Marvel Universe, you'd be okay because um, you know, uh, Percy does a great job at sort of filling in those gaps. But this one is really pivotal for that one because of just sort of what happens throughout the course of that particular first issue.
Nice, yeah, and it's good. I know I almost want to check out Black Panther just to see how it differs from Wolverine and Spider-Man, just getting that experience. But hearing you talk about Spider-Man, it really does distinctly sound like this is very clearly differently done, differently told than than the Wolverine story. Because it has a totally different vibe, as it should, because you're dealing with two very different characters, and one of which, with Wolverine, that's Benjamin Percy. He's crushed it with I hesitate to say that that's the best legacy character that he's written, only because he did such a good job of elevating Ghost Rider. But I think he's like he could just write Wolverine his entire life, and we'd enjoy it, and he'd find ways to just put him in spots that are just massively entertaining and very much fit that vibe with that character at all times. So seeing this is where all the Predator versus stuff began. Predator versus Wolverine. This started in 2023, and I think it wrapped up at the start of 2024. But also, like Joe was saying, with Predator versus Spider-Man, it is a 4-issue series. Benjamin Percy is the writer, and then we actually have a ton of artists in this series. There's a Young Wolverine section, a Team X section, Weapon X, and then Muramasa era, and then there's also a Westchester, X Mansion era as well. But the present is the only art that we see throughout every single issue. But at the same time, so Ken Lashley did the present line work, and then Juan Fernandez did the present colors, and then Corey Pettit did all of the letters for everything. That's the only art that we see in every single issue. But I think if I tallied up like how many pages Ken Lashley did, I think this is like 120 pages or so, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe a smidge less. But I would think he ended up doing like a full comic really in the course of all of it. And then as for the line artists, we have Hayden Sherman is among the group. They did Weapon X. But then again, there's a lot of different people that are thrown in the mix here. I'm not going to, I guess I'll go through them real quick. Greg Land, Jay Leistein, Andrea DeVito, Kai Izama, and Gavin Guidry did all the line work throughout the course of the series on top of Ken Lashley and Hayden Sherman. Colors, we got Frank D'Armata, Alex Gumarez, and Matthew Wilson on top of Juan Hernandez doing the colors. Synopsis for this. Witness the untold greatest battles of Logan's life across the ages against a predator. One, you actually, I actually don't know how to say this. Do you know how to say like what a predator is, like the alien that they are? Yuacha?
Oh,
I think Yuacha is as close as I'm going to get.
Yeah. Yeah, I've tried. Yeah, it's probably as close as we're gonna get.
One Yuacha seeks the greatest prey in existence and finds it in Weapon X. From the blood-ridden snows of the Canadian wilderness to the sword-slinging streets of Madripoor, Wolverine and Predator will destroy everything in their paths on their way to the ultimate victory or glorious death. Now, what was interesting in hearing you talk about the Spider-Man or Predator versus Spider-Man story is you have other key characters from Spider-Man's history featured throughout the course of that story. In mine, you have Wolverine, you have Predator, and then you have a mix of other individuals that play varying roles in the course of it. Obviously, if you're dealing with like Team X, era, you're dealing with Sabretooth, you're dealing with Maverick. When we're talking about Westchester, X-Men, there's any list of X-Men characters you can deal with, but we do see Nightcrawler in the mix, Colossus shows up, Rogue shows up, a few different individuals there. And the same can be said of like not as much young Wolverine, but also the Muramasa era as well. So, but they're all like bits and pieces along the way, and kind of more so helping explain where Logan is in his life. And from a conceptual standpoint, as it said in the synopsis, like you have the greatest weapon in the world being hunted by the greatest hunter in the galaxy. And that's perfect. And that you legitimately have that in these two characters. And it's also one of those situations where, one, we talk all the time about how verses with legacy characters can be, I don't want to say hollow, but I can't think of a better word right now. They almost turn into, team up stuff. You ain't getting that here. That you ain't getting that in yours. You're not getting that in mine. I'm assuming we're not getting that in the Predator versus Black Panther as well. So that feels very real here. But at the same time, while there's a bunch of Yuacha Predators, it is a legacy character. So it's like there's a level of, will this character survive? Will it not? You don't know. It's very unclear throughout the course of the story. So like as much as Wolverine's going to walk away from this, you don't know about the Predator. I feel like this is such a like lock shut, tight, like nice and tight like story from a concept standpoint. Like it doesn't just write itself, Joe. I feel like it draws itself, and that's not taken away from anything that the artist did throughout the course of the series. It's just like it makes perfect friggin' sense, and having this story take place over the course of all of Logan's life, not just in one concentrated spot, is perfect because not only does that allow for some great pacing as there's so much action throughout the course of this series, and it's very heavy in narration, but I've said it many times with Benjamin Percy, his narration with Logan is absolutely perfect. Like he has for all the times I bring it up where I can be very stingy about it, this is like nobody, I don't know if anybody passes with more flying colors than Benjamin Percy when writing Logan's narration. But what's so impressive to me, and I think the biggest takeaway in all of this is written in a way where it actually feels like it's a part of Marvel's history. It's not intrusive in any single way on anything else that's happened with Logan or any of the other characters that he's dealing with at the time that the Predator pops up. Because with Team X, like Sabretooth can survive stuff. Other people are more expendable. Maverick, always deals with some shit, but he pulls through. And then all these other characters have seen aliens and whatnot throughout the course of the year. And it's a lot of these interactions aren't these long things. It's just like, it's a single issue. It's in and out, and like it bounces around, and we're going in enough spots over time where it makes perfect sense. Where it's like there's always an eye on Wolverine, and it's the Predator, but the Predator is also picking its spots when it wants to attack Wolverine, or when it decides instead that it wants to go attack like Arnold and Carl Weathers. But the one of the other big things is I actually covered a lot of the notes that I had already. I just got in the rhythm. I didn't even realize that. But I think that the other thing that really rung true with this, half of it's the art, half of it's the narration. And on the art side, it's the Predator. On the narration side, it's Wolverine. The respect that these two individuals have for each other is very clear. Like Wolverine very much knows, like, this is not someone I should be taking lightly. I should not be messing around with this person. Like, I got to deal with them. There are times where Wolverine is scampering off. There are times where the Predator is scampering off. Like, it's very clear this is an evenly matched battle. And that's not just apparent in the action, but in terms of like the choices that these two characters make. And we obviously get that insight from Wolverine. So on top of the history, that how this can fit into Marvel's history, I think that's another thing that Ben did really, really well. Where these two characters are tough, and again, that's like Lashley's art and everybody else in the mix. But then it's also like how Wolverine talks about his fighting with this character, this Predator. As for the art, I've talked about Ken Lashley's quite a bit. I do like everybody else's in this story, and they're all in different times. But Ken Lashley's present day art, man, is just it is my absolute favorite in the series. I'm glad that his was the stuff that was there. Like, it has that Marvel style, and it goes in line really well with the Predator. And I think this is where the Predator also looked the best, because it's like a matured physically version. And we see, like, in the eras, like, this Predator, has times where it's younger, it's a little bit slimmer, it's a little more battle torn. There's this one reveal we get in issue 3 of a slightly one of the bigger changes in Predator's look, and it's not something that you normally see, and I absolutely loved it. It was outstanding. I don't want to get into details and whatnot, but all around, this is a really, really fast moving issue. Honestly, I feel like you can read this entirely in one day, and it is available on Hoopla, and then go check out Joe's, and whether or not his reads just as fast, he said it has great pacing. You might be able to read these two all in one day. They move at that quick of a speed.
You can do the same with Black Panther as well, right? And I think the similarities between your book and my book is that there's a great physicality between our characters, right, versus the Predator. Whereas in Black Panther, I feel it's a slightly more cerebral story, if that makes sense.
Interesting,
right? Because the Predators are kind of for a very specific thing, very specific purpose. You can probably guess as to what that is. But it is a battle of wits. It's a chess match. It's a shell game. It's look over here while we're over here, right? And there's obviously a physicality. Black Panther, T'Challa is a very strong character. It is not one to to not tap dance. But that's a different type of story than what we get from ours. Like, now ours are wildly different, it sounds like, as well, but there's still that common theme of, right, predators, hunters, going after each other.
right?
A lot of violence. Black Panther, there's definitely violence, but that's more of a cerebral story. But it also reads really quick, right? And none of that is a knock. You could probably check all these out and read them in one sitting, and be like, "Fuck, give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more." And that's just what makes this, I guess, event, right? I guess it qualifies as an event. One of the best things Marvel's done, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it really is a nice, like, self-contained little thing that Ben's been able to do on the side with a different artist that he's worked with, and now we're getting Predator kills the Marvel Universe, and you're already raving about that first issue. I mean, this is seriously, this is what happens when you like creators like push the envelope. And I think like with Benjamin Percy, he's been able to do that a lot at Marvel. And and now we're gonna get him writing the Punisher coming up soon. I can only imagine what that's gonna be like. I know he told us a little bit, but damn, man.
Yeah. He's one of the preeminent writers over at Marvel now. He cemented his legacy, and he is just doing the damn thing.
Yes, he is. And we were able to do the damn thing despite internet issues. And I think I figured out what the issue was, Joe. You and I will talk about it off air. But until next.
Keep reading. I didn't want to get cut off.